Alright, I'm worked up. I gotta talk about it because it's bothering me and it's funny. It's about a video game, so if you're not into video games, I apologize. But if you want to listen to me actually just talk about a funny experience of me playing a video game and becoming very frustrated, and I'm probably going to be very ecstatic at points when I try to explain it to you because I have yet to explain this to anybody, and I feel very strongly about some of the things I'm about to tell you. Um, Okay, so to start it off to the history of what we're talking about here. Okay, there's this video game out there. It's called Rust, okay? And Rust is a survival online multiplayer game where you like build a base and you acquire loot and you can team up with other people and fight other people or just be solo and fight other people. But all along it comes down to being it's you versus everybody else that's on the internet and you're all building your own separate bases and la yada yada. Now, I love base builders. I love survival games. This game literally fits to every criteria of every game that would possibly be suggested. Like, hey man, this is probably a good game for you. So, very not unnatural of me to think that I found it many, many years ago and have watched lots of people on YouTube play it. I just never have played it because I don't like the multiplayer part of it. I like playing games like Minecraft or Ark or trying to think of really. I like games where I can play by myself. Now I like having people around me. I like having people to play with, but I don't like noobs or not noobs. I don't like randoms. I want people that I want to know to be playing with me, not just some random Joe Schmo who's gonna try to kill me every 10 seconds because that's what people online are like. So, um, I like playing on Minecraft where I'm on my own world by myself doing my own thing and I can choose whatever I want versus being forced to be feared of whether I'm going to be alive or not because some guy is going to come running up and kill me because I'm on a server full of 1,000 other people. And so, since you can only play the game online, you can't play it locally and only play it one player. It's a game that naturally I liked. I liked watching people play it. It seemed like a really cool game. It was just nothing that I really saw myself ever wanting to actually play or get into playing myself. Um, Recently, of the last 2 years, they've done a crap ton of updates for the game, practically turning it into what seemed like a pretty cool game into a really, really cool game. Caught my interest enough where I finally bit the bullet and bought the game. So now I'm years behind on this. I've watched lots of content on it, so I do know a lot of the general basis of it, but there's still the whole doing it. And I watch people on YouTube that play this game and they make it look easy because they've played the game for 5+ years because the game's been out for a very long time and they're really good at it due to the fact that they have the time and experience into it. So when you're playing online with other people and you're just starting off to the point where you're practically learning the game for yourself for the first time and you're playing on a server full of people who have played the game for many more years than you, it does not work out. And practically it worked out. What happened is what happened, exactly what happened. I got tortured. I got destroyed. I am to this point in my life where I am worked up and ate up over this video game to the point where I'm not even sure that I'm going to play it anymore. I literally am not like saying that I'm stopping because I'm mad at it. I'm stopping because I'm pretty sure that I'm just not going to be able to play this video game. And it drives me crazy. There's never been a time in my entire life that I've ever played a video game and stopped playing it because it was too hard. There's always been a drive of like, if I can't do it, I just gotta play more. I play more of it, and I get better at it. And then I come back at it again, and boom, we beat it. And now I'm all happy, and I'm like, yeah, look at that. And now this is the first time in my entire life where I actually have to sit down and look at a game and go, I just can't do this. This is just not me. So here's some of the horrors of playing this game. So, while watching these people that play the game, they aren't the assholes, but they obviously explain to you what it's like to play against all the other people on the servers that are the assholes. And so that's practically how you learn what the game's like. So practically you learn that you spawn into the world naked. Obviously the game has been out for long enough that people have figured out where all the spawn locations are. And so what they do is they collect tribes of people that they stand up and they wait until you spawn in, and then they kill you because they get experience for killing you and you get nothing. So you literally spawn in the moment your character opens his eyes and you are a living being on this world. You die from some dude standing right in front of you with a shotgun. And guess what? When you respawn, even though it will spawn you in a completely random location on the other side of the map, somebody else kills you because they're camped over there too. They know all the spawn locations. And so a lot of the servers you have to kind of like spawn in a couple times in either hope that you eventually find a spot where it doesn't have somebody camping spawn kills, or you just eventually leave and find a different server. So literally these kids that are playing the game the way that, naturally they play the game, they just don't realize that they're ruining it for people like me, these new people that are like, this game looks cool, I want to play it, and then we jump on and I'm just getting, I just can't even spawn into the world. I'm like, oh look, mountain, dead. Oh look, tree, dead. Oh look, water, dead. It's just like you spawn in, and literally the moment you see something, you're dead, and it says, oh, you were just killed by so and so with a shotgun, and it's like, I'm running around with a rock and a torch, and you got a shotgun? Like, So, you have to deal with that a lot. And I've watched videos where people have explained this being a thing, and then actually getting to play it. I can tell you, this is exactly how it works. But eventually, you do look out and you find either a server where people just aren't doing it at that time, or they just aren't assholes and aren't camping kills at spawn. So, it allows you to obviously then start the game. So I finally find the server, and after very many trials and tribulations of like running around for like 5 minutes and either being killed by another person or being killed by an animal or freezing to death or starving to death or whatever being the case, because again, I'm new, I'm still trying to figure things out. You die a lot, and it's like, so at trials and tribulations, eventually learn, okay, this is how you build, this is how you upgrade, and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, So what I do is I build a base. I build a very small base, but I built this base, and I didn't spend much time playing the game on that server that day, but I built this small base, and when I built the small base, I left at one point to go get some more resources, and when I came back, part of my base was already like destroyed, and I was like, somebody broke into my house. Like, I have literally nothing, but yet somebody has already broken into my house. And so then I rebuilt it to what it was, and I logged off the server, but I was then fearful that now if obviously somebody's already raided my house once and broke in when I have nothing, like, I'm gonna wake up the next day and get on and find out that my base is gone. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. My base was non-existent. The whole thing was just gone. My spawn location was gone. My bed, everything was just gone. I spawned in a completely different random spot on the map, and it did tell me when I went to spawn in, it was like, oh, by the way, you got killed by this person like 11 hours ago. And it was like, I mean, what am I gonna do? I can't live on this video game. Like, how are you supposed to build in this game if you build and somebody just destroys it? Well, here's the difference. I did learn then that there's this thing that you're supposed to build and put into your base, and when you do that, your base slowly decays over time. So it's set up in a system so that, say you have a kid like me or a guy like me who gets on to play, and I build this big base. It takes up a whole bunch of space, but then I never play the game again. So what? That building's just going to sit there for all eternity and never be used. Everything inside of it's locked. No one's ever going to be able to get to it. So no, that's like kind of cheating and shit. So the way they set it up is the bases are set up on, so say I build the foundation of the house, it's all built out of thatch, and then your next upgrade's wood, and then it's stone, and then it's metal. So say I've upgraded my house to wood, and it's a completely wooden house. I build this special box, put it in my house, put a bunch of wood inside of it. That makes it so my house stays perfectly nice for as long as the amount of wood that I've had in that chest can repair the house and keep it going. It has a decay rate, which just naturally means as soon as you run out of wood, your base will start decaying. It will start breaking itself. Not knowing that means that no one probably never broke into my base. It probably just means that my house decayed around me and some guy ran up and killed me because I was just some dude sleeping on the ground. So, slightly my fault, but I was like, alright. Went to that same map, same server. The next day, went to that same location, built a much larger house, upgraded it to wood, built that special box, put a bunch of wood inside of it, to the point that when I put it inside of it, the base decay rate tells you how long the material you've given it will last before your base will start decaying. My base decay rate was 3 days. I had 3 days, 3 real life days before my base got decayed, okay? So at this point, it's late. It's like late as in like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm sleepy. I don't really feel like playing this game anymore. So I decide, okay, I'm going to turn this off now. I wake up the next day. I decide, screw it. Let's get on and make a little bit more progress on the base and everything. Log in. I'm dead. My base is gone. Completely gone. Even though I had 3 days of decay, it just proved that I don't know if the decaying is what took place in the beginning or if somebody else did just come through and wreck my building. And it made me really upset because I spent a lot of time. I spent probably 3.5 or 4 hours playing that game to do what I did. They got destroyed to the Sorry, there was like something that seemed like a tornado was going by, but it was nothing, so I have no idea what it was. But anyways, so feeling very defeated due to the fact that my base has now been destroyed, and like I said, it took me like 4.5 hours of building, and to find out that it was just completely destroyed, and everybody took everything that I had already collected for myself and everything, and just took it for themselves, which is, again, this is the way the game is built, so I can't be too mad that it's happening this way. It's more the annoyance of, like, these people that are doing this to me obviously were using weapons that were like high grade, so these are people that are obviously played the game for many hours, years, are raiding people's bases that they clearly can tell is small and doesn't have shit inside of it just because of the fact that they can, is what it comes down to, and that bothers me the most. Why don't you, Mr. Big Guy with big base, raid other team over here that's got big base? Oh, well, because you could actually possibly lose your shit. Instead, you would just... Oh, it must be thunder I'm hearing. It just sounds weird through the windows. It sounds really strange. Anyways, so, okay, I already built everything once. It took about 4.5 hours. Now I know what I'm doing. So this should take faster, right? And it did. It took about 2 hours. I built a much more moderately small base, thinking, if this happens again where it's destroyed, I don't want to spend as much time as I did in building this huge elaborate base just to have it all destroyed in literally no time. And so I built a much smaller base, still decent size enough. Got to the point where I got everything and decide, okay, now I'm going to go out looting. I'm just going to go out looting the world because that's the one thing I had yet to do. And that was what the one part of the game that looked really fun to me was the looting aspect of the world and how it was set up. About every turn I turned, I would end up getting killed by an animal or by a person, but it was fine because usually at those points I was never carrying anything, I had never collected anything, I was really just exploring. So you'd make it really far in the map somewhere and somebody would kill you and you'd just be like, you just respawn at your base and take off running in a different direction, it's like no big deal. I was enjoying myself, it was cool. Then I finally decide that I'm going to go to this place. It's pretty close to my base. It's called Lighthouse. It's just a massive lighthouse. It's supposed to have a lot of really good loot inside of it. So I spend all this time doing the parkour puzzles to make my way all the way to the top. I make my way to the very top. Once I'm sitting at the very top, I loot a box that gives me my first gun. I am tickled to death. I'm excited. Oh my god, I have just got my first gun. turn around, somebody's standing behind me. Don't know how they got there. Don't understand how I never heard them coming up the stairs. They're metal stairs. They make noise when people walk on them. How did this man... So I'm thinking this person was hiding somewhere and literally was just waiting for people like me to show up to get the loot. And the moment we get the loot, then they attack. And he killed me and took my shit. And I was just like, this game is every fucking corner is just beats you the fuck down. It's like, oh, you having fun, bitch? And it just like, and then it's just like, it ruined me. So, knowing though at this point that I spawned really close to where it was, because I spawned back in my base, and knew where I was. The lighthouse is literally like, I mean, I cross a little bit of water and I'm at the lighthouse. I mean, I could see it from my base. So I'm thinking, this dude's got to get down to the bottom. And what I'll do is I'll just go out there and I'll beat the fuck out of him. Well, he gets to the bottom about the same time that I make it to the lighthouse. Because of the fact that he's wearing nothing and I'm wearing nothing, we're both the same speed. We just ran all the way across the map until we eventually ran into a third party. The third party ends up beating that man to death and then beating me to death. So we both lost out on all the loot. And I was really livid, and I was really upset, and I was like, you know what, I've played a lot, I've upgraded the base, I had upgraded it all the way to stone this time. I was like, even furthermore, idea of helping proof of, like, maybe, it was wood, maybe wood's really easy to break into, but if I use stone instead, it's much easier to break into. So I upgraded the entire thing to stone. I had made sure all the stuff was working. The whole decaying thing was working, because I was fearing maybe I screwed something up with that, but it was working. Everything was right. I was like, alright, I log off for the night. I don't get on. That next morning when I wake up, I wait until it was about middle of the night kind of thing, middle, like 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump on Rust now. Get on, I'm dead, my base is gone again. Somebody is destroying my shit. At this point, I've spawned into the game, and I'm being practically forced by a group of people who were naturally there to kill me, as, that's what they do when you spawn into the game. They were going to kill me, but instead they are they are a clan of people who run the server. And this is the problem with this game, and this is the reason why I don't like it. There's only 100 people allowed on each server. This server that I'm on has a clan, a group of people who are all friends, who are all play together. They take up the majority of the server. So you have 60-some people who are all coercingly playing together, and then you have 30 people who are trying to learn the game, but you just pick on them the entire time because you literally run the server. So what was happening when I eventually asked them, because I was getting really pissed by these dudes, the way they were treating me, in the sense that they just wouldn't let me play the game. Anytime I disagreed, anytime I tried to run off away from them just to go do the game, they killed me because they knew where I was going to respawn. It was just this bullshit. So I eventually asked them, like, yo, I've been building a base over there by Lighthouse. I've built it 3 times now. Every time I build it, it's destroyed. I just want to know, do you guys, are you guys doing that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're destroying it. We know exactly the one. They knew exactly the one, and I knew they knew exactly the one because they explained to me what my last 2 bases looked like. And I knew, like, okay, yeah, these guys clearly knew what building was my building. And literally they were telling me that since they run the server, they know all of the buildings on the map. And when new people come in and make new buildings, like I was, they know that my building doesn't normally exist. So they wipe it out. And unless I pay them taxes, in the sense of I have to mine resources and then give them to them for free, I can't play on the server. They'll just keep wiping me. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to install this game. That is the most absurd bullshit I have ever heard in my entire life, that a game literally allows you to become a mafia and say, hey, you want to play this game? Pay us. Like, fuck you, dude. I just won't play the game. I was playing this game to have fun. I was playing this game because Rust looked like it was a game to actually play if you want to have fun and survive and have a survival experience with your friends online and maybe fight a few NPCs that actually carry guns and loot and all this other cool. Nope, nope. Just now it's all mafia run servers and you can't learn the game. You can't be a noob at it. You literally have to join the game knowing every aspect of it, or somebody's gonna just take you out. So that's the thing. I'm just defeated. I don't know what else to do. I'm sure a lot of people out there are like, I play Rust all the time and it's not hard. And that's the thing. You play it all the time. I just started playing the game a month ago. The game's been out for years. It's just like, there are games that you can play 10 years down the road and still be good at, or still be a noob at, and still learn and get good at, and not be dominated by everybody. This is just the first game I've ever played where they don't have any safeguards set up of being like, hey, are you new? Here's servers that are also full of people that are new. Instead of being like, oh, are you new? Here's a server full of 64 people who are all friends with each other, and they've played the game for 5 years, and they're just gonna torture you and literally just ruin all your progress. All that 4 hours of time that I spent that I was all proud about, they literally destroyed it in minutes using bullets that explode, and they probably were just like, oh, just fucking noobs over here building this build, and it's shorted, and that was, you know what I'm saying, I was just a second thought to them. It's just like, and they were younger than me. That was the other thing. They're all on microphone, like, yeah, if you mine us 1,000 wood a week, you can stay. And I'm just like, yeah, no, you can suck a cock, and I just logged off. I was like, you're fucking thing. I am not gonna let some little kid bully me on a video game. I just won't play. I'm sorry. Enjoy your bullshit tax. Find some other 6-year-old kid that gets on and goes, okay, and then he tells Mom, I play this game, but these kids, they make me mine wood for them, or else I can't play with them, and all this other stuff. And the mom's just like, man, these kids don't really sound like the best people. And it's like, yep, that's what video games are. That's what you get for your money. So I wasted $20 buying the game, and I probably would leave them a bad review if it wasn't for the fact of, like I said, the game, I have nothing against the game. The game looks cool, plays great. I enjoyed the fuck out of the game. It's just the people who play it literally ruined it, and I will never play it again. So, thank you for listening to my 23-minute rant. If you listen to the end, I guess. I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me rant. I'm still pretty ate up about this, and I'm going to be ate up about this for a little while, but I'll get over it, as of all things in life, especially a video game. So, if you like this video, a like would be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to keep up with content that comes out pretty much whenever I have storage space to record it, or think about actually doing it, which sounds bad on my part, but it's a reality of life. So if you want to subscribe and you haven't subscribed yet, you can just go ahead and click on that circular thing over here. It will allow you to subscribe to the channel. If you want to check out other videos that have come out in 2022 so far this year, you can click on this link up here. It will take you to the whole playlist of every video that has come out so far this year, to keep up with all the cool, awesome content that comes out whenever I decide to do it. So I'll see you guys next time for the next rant about some other game, probably. Alright, bye.